Good afternoon. Welcome. I apologize for doing this over video today. Glad you guys came in. Obviously, we've got some crazy times going on here with COVID and the ability to get everyone in the same room. And my schedule has been full this week, so I will not be able to join you live. So I wanted to record a short video for you to go over a couple things that I feel important. First of all, thank you. I appreciate the effort you guys are doing through these crazy times. I know that we've stopped contact with the stores, but bottom line is you're still out there. You're still out amongst it. Be careful. Make sure you're using your PPE. Take your PPE home to your family. Every case that we have had so far has come from somebody contacted home. So please take it home. Please encourage the family to be safe when they're going around. I know it's been a long time and it's difficult not to be out and go Christmas shopping or go see a game at the bar or whatever. But please practice the safety as you can and wear your mask as much as you can and wash your hands. I can't stress that enough. We had 17 drivers that were off less than a week ago. So please be careful is my main concern. But thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for the efforts of getting out this year. It's actually business-wise, we're going to come close to what we did last year. Not quite there. But sales are there, and we've reduced a considerable amount of cost, even though the increased cost of cleaning trucks and the extra pay that we're providing. So congratulations to you guys for the effort. I want to introduce Randy, our new Kanapke. He is our new director of transportation. I'll allow him to speak after I'm done here, but he'll be in the office when this first airs. Any issues you have. So if you are seeing a concern on the road, you're seeing a concern at the store, whatever it is, if you see something that's going to fail or needs addressed, please bring it to the team members that are on here, the staff. So Randy, Doug, Jessica, Jonathan, you got truck issues, you got customer issues, you got freezer issues, share them now and don't wait to share them in between. Share them as they occur so that we can help correct them at the stores. I know we've got challenging times out there with breakfast and what's going on. So share that with these guys now and they'll make sure that it's corrected. Make sure when you get your email, register for the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. We're going a new method there. So make sure that you're covering that. And responding back, if you don't get the email, let Lisa or Brian know. I'll let Randy take it from here and introduce himself and walk through, and he's going to come around and meet all of you in person so that he can understand, share with him your experiences or any concerns that you have so that he can get a good understanding of what we do. But thank you again. I appreciate it. Happy holidays, and I'll let Randy take it from here. Thank you.
Today's agenda is going to be probably mostly kind of getting to talk to each other here. We've got our new director on, Randy. We'll go over a couple of reviews, some COVID stuff, a couple of little compliance things, and then our topic will be winter driving. So we'll have a little bit of that too. So I guess let's go ahead and kick it off. Randy, if you want to introduce yourself and talk to him. Like I said, we've got a handful of them on here.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, thank you all just for everyone's been very inviting across the board for the organization. So I'm really excited to get to know the driver crew just as much as the office staff. So just a little bit about myself. I've been in transportation logistics for almost 20 years, various verticals from batteries, car manufacturing to oil and gas, and now food. So it's exciting. So I ran fleets of various sizes, for-profit, private fleets. I relocated here just last week from Colorado. I'm an Ohio native actually. So I was born and raised in Northwest Ohio. So I haven't lived in the state though for about 7 years. So coming back home to Ohio, and just really excited to be part of the team and being part of back in this area of the country. So just looking forward to everything you guys have to offer here from the safety program, really interested in that. And as there is I know Brian's going to give a COVID update, but as any of us watching the news, vaccines are getting released out there. There is an end to, the pandemic in our future. So I'm really excited to be able to meet some people in person and have some really intimate conversations with everyone across the board as we get more into normalcy in our lives. So just thank you for letting me be part of the team here. Thanks.
All right. We'll go, we've got, as always, Jonathan's with us. I think Scott's with us too. I don't see Doug or Jessica. Let me just make sure I don't have them on here. You guys have anything for Jonathan? Or Jonathan, you got anything?
You guys got equipment questions, comments, concerns, anything we can work on? That sounds good.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Have anything for Scott? Scott, you got anything?
I don't have really anything yet. Just still working on the future of what will be mobile frame out of Salesforce. So looking probably closer to the end of 2021 right now, once we get everything ready and tested and all that. But I know we still have issues with tablets. If you got problems, give me a call. We'll get it straightened out. First, you don't succeed, try resetting it.
Yeah. Always power down, power on.
That's all I got. If anybody else has anything for me.
Good. And my hope is obviously we did it virtual this time. We've as Jay mentioned, we've had a lot of exposure through the fleet. I'm afraid that's going to continue through the holidays. So, virtual this meeting, possibly virtual the first one in 2021, but soon we'll be back to the in-person. And Randy, so what we were doing was we were scheduling out 8. We've had 8 drivers per session so that we could have some social distancing and kind of do that. So hopefully you'll be able to get to know these guys. There's a good group of them. I don't see any of the good ones on this call, but they're out there.
Oh, come on now. That's not what you're saying.
No, actually they're all a good group of guys there. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised at what a good group we've got here. So anyway, quick review here. We talked about the first quarter. We kind of were delayed a little bit this year. Obviously, I think our first quarter one was in June. But, we talked about the back to basics for the first one. One of the things was, we kind of we're talking about the new normal. And, trucks are still, we talked about this, 6-8 months ago. We're still continuing to sanitize the trucks. We're still continuing to get you guys PPE and make sure that we've got plenty for you guys to have with you, not just on your trips, but to take home. Family. Obviously, there's not a lot we can do to prevent to not see our families. Our wives, our kids are. But just do your best that you can, not just here, but outside the office here. We still continue to move to a paperless environment. Starting in 2021, we're moving your files and stuff over soon. You'll have visibility to be able to update your information through different platforms. We'll kind of discuss that, I think, more in 2021, how we plan to use that. But one of the other things was, we see this, I think, continuously, and it's a small percentage, definitely, of the drivers, and I don't think there's any on here that are an issue. But this is your livelihood, right? So, you are a representative of the company. We expect you to be professional and courteous in all situations. So, obviously, especially, as everybody, I think, gets kind of on edge this year, just from all these changes and all these different people are kind of getting, I think, a little tired of a lot of things, and so tempers kind of boil over. But when you come across somebody, store manager and employee, you never want to match them level for level on their attitude, their confrontation. So it can be difficult, but you always want to remain professional. You know, that's your job. and you know, take it serious. You know, wear your masks, rotate the product. You know, you're driving professionally, and always be respectful. You know, I think this is not just from, you know, this the pandemic. You know, this is I think an ongoing thing. You know, we always want to make sure we're taking this seriously and doing our jobs. The second quarter, we talked about pre-trip inspections. Obviously, you know, we have to do these before you leave. We also need to do them on road and the post-trip. You know, prior to departure, you want to make sure that everything is written up, or all things that were written up on the previous post are rectified and fixed. You know, if you find a defect, report it. I know it's sometimes when we're busy, you know, it's very easy to just push something, you know, maybe a tire that's real close to being in need of replacement, brakes that are close to needing replacement. Don't push it. Just write it up, get it fixed. It's a lot easier to fix it at Ryder Penske than it is to fix it somewhere broken down on the road. And then we'll have additional resources in the driver dashboard and smart sheet. So I'll make sure that we have those checklist items there for you to reference anytime you need them. And that kind of led us to roadside inspection. So the last quarter we talked about, you know, kind of what to expect, what to do with roadside inspections. You know, inspectors have to perform a certain number of inspections annually. There's a quota, but they don't all have to fail. So, you know, they're going to focus on you, the driver, your paperwork, and your equipment. You know, most violations can be prevented with a proper pre-trip, and that's important. Violations that you do receive on the road must be turned into the office immediately. We have to sign off on those, especially if there's a defect that we have to repair. We have to sign off on those. We only have a certain amount of time to do that. The more failed inspections that we get, the more frequent inspections that we get across the entire fleet. So, you know, you always want to strive for no violations, because that your violation is going to impact the whole fleet, all your other your peers there. Be respectful during inspections. Don't give an officer a reason to find a violation. Obviously, a bad attitude can lead to a lot more. You know, and it's always good to just be agreeable and be helpful. Violations are assigned an SMS value or CSA score. High scores assigned to a driver could result in disciplinary action up to and including termination. We talked about that, I think, last time. You know, there's a lot of the driver initiated inspections, such as speeding, improper lane change, lights, that type of thing. So if you get one of those 10 plus, now, as you guys know, I mean, some of those are already zero tolerance, right? So seatbelts are zero tolerance. Texting while driving is zero tolerance. So, and guys, don't forget too, I want to bring this up, and I think I brought this up before, but it's important to note. So using a phone, right, while you're driving is not just, you know, holding it up or texting and driving. It's not just, I mean, it's a big part of this is, you know, I know there's a big thing out there now where drivers, not in our fleet, but is a or, you know, profession in general. There's this thing where drivers are watching Netflix on their phones while they're driving, things like that. But the other thing too is, you know, if you're taking videos while you're driving and posting it on social media, that's using your phone, right? So, you know, think about that before you post pictures out of our truck driving down the road at, you know, the beautiful scenery,
Okay.
you're just seeing an accident. You know, that is using your phone while driving. So don't, you know, think about that before you post that.
Ryan, I always like to say, and sorry I'm butting in here.
No, go ahead.
I always like to say when it comes to cell phone usage, just over the years, is that just remember all cell phone records are easily subpoenaed if you're ever in any type of accident or anything like that. So if you make a post to Facebook while driving and you get into some kind of catastrophic accident, those records can be subpoenaed and they will drill down onto it. And you get, I don't know who the libel lawyer on this side of the state is, but in Colorado it's Frank Azar, and the Azar guy was going to get you and he would figure it out. So, but yeah, I just always put that on there because those records are very easy subpoenaed.
Right. And that's, you know, I think a lot of times people don't think about that. And it's really, really, I mean, that's basically putting yourself on display. And, you know, I worked back where I worked before about 5 years ago. We had a rollover accident in Ocala. And that was when I lived in Jacksonville. So I drove over to the scene and I was standing there. The driver was okay. We were at the side of the road. And of course, people are all, you know, excited to see a truck rolled over for some reason. So people are driving by, you know, one lane was open and they're all driving by and they're holding up their phones. And the trooper that was working the scene, he basically stood there and he stopped each car that drove by holding a phone up and just, he didn't ticket them, but boy, did he yell at them. And, you know, it's a natural reflex to want to document this stuff, but it definitely isn't worth it. But, and then just a reminder too, clean roadside inspections. You know, we talk about, you know, this is what's going to happen if you fail, but, you know, a reminder, if you pass, there is a $50 bonus at the end of the year. So, and there's no limit to that. If you get, you know, 4 clean roadside inspections in 2020, that's $200 at the end of the year. So, you know, just something to, I guess, look forward to. And just a quick update here. There's, you know, we've had, as Jay mentioned, you know, over the Thanksgiving holiday, you know, we had, I think, 17 drivers that were out on quarantine. You know, there's some new CDC guidelines on how long quarantine will be required and things like that. But right now, after a call last Friday with Jay and HR, what they're looking at doing is having 10 days of quarantine, which is now the CDC guidelines. And of course, that's going to be based on things that change all the time. So it's not going to be a written down rule, but it's the current one is 10 days of quarantine. Now, we do require something in paperwork for quarantine pay. And if you guys have had to go down, you basically know that if you can just text us a picture, anything with the paperwork from your whoever was exposed, you know, we can work on that. I want to warn you guys though, that exposure that's caused by circumstances within your control, you know, up until, you know, here in the last month or two, the company has just paid you guys, right? So, but it's very important that you understand that if you contract COVID from a situation within your control, you may not get paid to quarantine. So what that may look like is, you know, you've got, and again, you know, social media can be fun to connect with friends in, but it can also be your worst enemy. You know, if you're posting pictures of yourself and 20 of your buddies, you know, at a birthday party, or something like that, you know, and then you get COVID from it, the company's not guaranteeing that they're going to pay for that. So just be careful of that and just be mindful of that. I know it's hard this time of year. You know, we want to get together with all of our friends and family at Christmas and Thanksgiving, but you know, I think people are starting to see, I think just how quickly it's spread, you know, up until probably October. I think we had maybe 1 or 2 drivers, right, the whole time that had to go on quarantine, and now it's just constant. So PPE is still provided for you guys. There's additional PPE in the driver's room, so take what you need. But don't, if you're out of PPE and you don't go to the driver's room, get with someone. You know, we don't want you to just not have it. You know, don't just say you didn't have it. You want to make sure that you have plenty of it. You know, I personally have a box in my vehicle of masks, so that if I have to go out somewhere, you know, I use them when I get gas. You know, driving, unfortunately, I'm still in the office usually once or twice a week. So that means I'm going to have to fuel up. So, you know, I use masks when I fuel, and then I use the sanitizer when I'm done. But again, take what you need. And it's serious. So, you know, it's starting to hit closer to home. I think a lot of us can now say they've known somebody personally that's had it. You know, well, we could all say that, I think, before, you know, of course, because of Dennis, but you know, beyond that, within our family and our, you know, in our circles, I think we see that. So It's very, very important. You know, it's if there's an you know, we rely on you guys kind of as the backbone of our company, right? So getting the job done without drivers, of course, you know, we can make all the buns in the world, but if we can't deliver them, there's no sense in it, right? Well, if we have too many, you know, if we have enough drivers go down, we can't deliver the buns. Obviously, I mean, you guys, I think can see where that would go. So just take it seriously. So, all right. I want to make sure that everybody though can ask questions. So we'll make sure that we get that opportunity here. All right. So Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse. I'm going to see if this will pull up. If not, I'll share that screen here. What we do here is, and for a lot of you guys that have been here for a while, this hasn't been you haven't had to deal with this, but when you hire onto a company, that company has to send a request to your previous employers where you were basically a CDL driver in a safety sensitive function, to send you back any negative drug test results or refusal to take. So for the previous 3 years of your employment, we would send those out, and then they'd send it back and it would go in your file. And now what they're doing is, there's a website that you will go into and give consent. And that consent basically says that your employer, which would be us or any future employers, can go in and basically query, or it's kind of like we pull your MVR for your driving record. This is kind of like the same thing for your drug and alcohol history, which will hopefully be, forever empty. But we have to pull that once a year. And so we'll start pulling those here this week and next week. And then we'll start pulling them on your, about the same time that we do your annual reviews. So you'll need to go in at some point and give consent. Now, here's the funny thing about this regulation. You are not required to give consent. So legally, you do not have to give consent. However, if you don't, you lose your CDL. So it's kind of like, you can refuse all you want, but you just can't drive. So it's not really a big deal. I'll make sure you guys have that information there, but it is something that we have to do for your requirements there for your compliance. So, all right. So now we're going to get into our Q4. So let me see if I want to see if we can unmute you guys if you guys have any questions here. You guys have any questions? Okay, we can unmute you guys. Okay, if you do, just feel free anytime to pop in here. Okay, so when you're driving too fast. So, we haven't here had too bad of a weather so far this year. I think we had one good snow, and then I think we've got some coming in Wednesday, but not very much here. But obviously, you guys don't just drive here. So it's important to remember, especially early in the season, that you are professional drivers. So not only we expect that you're going to know and take the proper safety precautions when you're winter driving, but it's also important to remember that not everybody on the road knows what they're doing. In fact, I think you guys would probably agree that probably a vast majority of the people out there don't know what they're doing. So, it's something that it's not just about you driving, it's about watching out for others. So one of the things is, or the main thing is driving too fast for conditions, which is basically defined as traveling at a speed that is greater than a reasonable standard for safe driving. This information is real obvious, right? So this is not, or hopefully not, brand new information that you guys have never heard of, like, oh, you should be slow, driving slow in snow. Obviously, you guys know that, but it still happens. And I think a lot of times when we're busy, or we have things that we want to do, or we're planning for a Friday run and we have plans on Saturday, so we're trying to hurry up and get back. It can get real easy to ignore these rules. But Examples of conditions where you might find that yourself driving too fast are wet roadways, whether it's rain, snow, or ice, reduced visibility, uneven roads, construction zones, curves, intersections, gravel roads, and heavy traffic. So the large truck crash causation study reported that 23% of large truck crashes occurred when commercial motor vehicles were driving too fast for conditions. So, you know, that's a fourth of all crashes there. So your first tip, reduce the driving speed in adverse road and or weather conditions. Obvious, right? Adjust your speed to safely match weather conditions, road conditions, visibility, and traffic. Excess driving speed is a major cause of fatal crashes, and higher speeds may cause more severe crashes. The Fatality Analysis Reporting System recently reported that 25% of speeding-related large truck fatalities occurred in adverse weather conditions. So, did you know you should reduce your speed by 1/3 on wet roads and by half or more on snow-packed roads? You know, if you can't do the math, 60 miles an hour on dry pavement on a wet road, you should be going about 40, and on snow-packed, 30. That is a suggestion. Obviously, if you're going 30 and a 60 and you're still having issues, then, you know, you should be slower off the road completely. And that's the main thing is you know, you don't always have to be the hero. You know, if it's dangerous, you can pull off, you know, pull off and wait it out, pull off and wait for them to clear it. But you don't have to be the hero there. Now, manufacturers generally advise drivers not to use a retarder, also known as jake brake, in wet or slippery roadway conditions. In fact, the Safety Board investigation of a motor coach crash that occurred in Cannon City, Colorado in December '99 revealed that an enabled retarder most likely triggered the loss of control and eventual crash of the motor coach on a snow-covered mountain roadway. Now, this is a clip that was on the FMCSA website. It's just a little dash cam clip here. I don't know if there's sound on it or not, but I don't think it matters. All right, so we see no accident occurred there, but one thing that's interesting too that I noticed when we were looking at that is that he was not wearing a seatbelt, but that was the one thing. But what do you guys notice about that clip? You know, it's hard to see in there, but you know, he obviously had to jam on those brakes there when the traffic stopped, and he wasn't expecting it. So, you know, when you have wet conditions, obviously you need to slow down, give yourself more room. You know, another tip, entering a curve slowly. So speed limits posted on curve warning signs are intended for passenger vehicles, not large trucks. Large trucks should reduce their speeds even further. Studies have shown that large trucks entering a curve, even at the posted speed limit, have lost control and rolled over due to their high center of gravity. So, you know, I think most of you know that, but if not, you know, very important. Those signs that say, you know, exit ramp 45 miles an hour is for a passenger car. And I think you've all encountered those. I know up here where I live, if you guys have been up to the 270 and 161 33 split where you go off into Marysville, that's a brand new interchange, and there's crashes there all the time. And I don't know if you guys remember when it first opened, there was that tanker, I think it was within a week or two, that came around that corner, dumped on its side and caught on fire, and they had to close the brand new bridge down to inspect for repairs. So, you know, the curves are dangerous. Let's see if we can go to here. Did you know that 40% of speeding related fatalities occur on curves? So it's kind of interesting. That's a high number. I did not expect that. I don't know if, I mean, you guys are out there more, you might see that more, but we'll watch another one of these dash cam clips from the FMCSA's website. And it is on the FMCSA website, guys, so don't expect major crashes, explosions, death, you know, all that kind of fun stuff. They're just going to be a teaching tool here. to kind of see he was coming up hot on that right. He had to really jam on those brakes to not take that turn. And that can happen, you know, a lot, especially when you're in an area that you're unfamiliar with. So again, watch for those signs, watch for those speed limit and reduce it. And especially, you know, when if it's snow covered, as you guys know, entrance ramps, overpasses, you know, they freeze before the roads. So tip number 3, reduce your speed before entering an exit or an entrance ramp. You know, approach an exit or entrance ramp at a safe speed. Truck rollovers are more likely to occur on an exit or entrance ramp when the driver misjudges the sharpness of the ramp curve and enters the curve at an excessive speed. And again, did you know that the posted speed limit on an exit entrance ramp generally shows the safe speed for a passenger vehicle? The safe speed for a large truck is usually significantly lower than the posted speed. And even though ramps and interchanges make up less than 5% of all highway miles, 20 to 30% of all large truck crashes occur on or near the ramps. So it's kind of interesting to kind of think about that. Now, I've heard different strategies on that posted speed limit. A lot of what I've heard is you want to at least drop down 10 miles an hour below what you see. That's generally a safe bet. But again, you know, if I think we've taken exit ramps, you know, even in our personal vehicles where we're doing it at that speed and it probably should even be lower. And then there's some that, you know, they're asking you to go 20 miles an hour and you can do it 60, no problem. But the general rule of thumb is 10 under. Drive slowly with a loaded trailer. I know we're not super heavy, but you know, there is weight on those. And even though I don't think we have any of our flower drivers on there, obviously, you're real heavy if you're a flower driver. But be more cautious with the loaded trailer. Loaded trailers have a higher center of gravity, and sudden speed adjustments may cause the load to shift, leading to skidding or rollover. I was actually reading an article, and it's not tractor related, but there was a I don't know if you guys read about the cargo ship that capsized last year off of St. Simons Island in Georgia. It was pulling out and it just tipped over on its side in one of those big cargo ships. And one of the things that they were looking at was that it was hauling 4,300 vehicles, I think it was. And when it made the stop, it dumped off, you know, 1,500 Hyundai Accents, the little tiny compact cars, and they put on, replaced them with the Kia Tellurides, those big SUVs, but they didn't account for the big change in the weight. So when they started going over, you know, they hadn't accounted for that, and it just tipped over. So, you know, it's something that you never, you know, you guys are used to driving the same product all the time. So if you have to go switch something, whether it's flour or something else, you know, you're going to be kind of, you know, muscle memory sort of, where you're going to be used to driving those 8,000 pound or 10,000 pound, whatever, bread loads. Just always know that when you're driving that loaded trailer of the risks. Now, large trucks with fully loaded trailers are 10 times more likely to roll over than those with empty trailers. And did you know that loaded trailers require 20 to 40% more braking distance than passenger vehicles to come to a complete stop? Now, tip 5, slow down in work zones. So before entering a work zone, decrease your speed, merge into the correct lane well ahead of any lane closures, and be prepared to slow down or stop suddenly. Speed increases perception, reaction distance, braking distance, and stopping distance. So again, here's an example, and that we've talked about this. You guys know I'm very much, I have 2 rules of thumb. One is to keep you guys safe, and the second is to keep you guys out of trouble. And it's becoming more and more of a world where lawsuits and lawyers are everywhere. So in 2003, a CMV driver was traveling at 60 miles an hour in a 45 mile an hour work zone on the Jane Addams Memorial Tollway in Illinois. The truck driver rear-ended a 25 passenger bus. The crash caused a 5 vehicle pileup, killing 8 women and injuring about a dozen others. As a result of the crash, the truck driver was charged and convicted of reckless homicide and sentenced to 4 years in prison. So, you know, I've said it before, you know, it's not, you're not necessarily just going to get a slap on the wrist, you know, and things like this can take away your livelihood in no time. Now, let's do a little bit of a test here. And actually, I'm gonna let's do this. I've got a little video here that we'll watch.
If you've been a professional driver for any length of time, chances are good that you've had to manage your tractor trailer in some pretty extreme weather. Fog, rain, wind, snow, and ice can all turn a routine driving assignment into a nerve-wracking trip. Your best defense when dealing with these extreme conditions is knowledge. Knowledge of your equipment, knowledge of the forecast, knowledge of the route you'll be traveling, and knowledge of how extreme weather can affect driving conditions. In this program, we'll talk about some of the keys to driving safely in extreme weather, including fog, rain, wind, snow, and ice. But remember, these conditions don't occur in isolation. They can occur together to make your driving even more challenging. Whatever weather conditions you may face, your first step is to be properly prepared. Preparation starts with a thorough pre-trip inspection. While each part of your standard inspection is important, it's crucial to check things like antifreeze levels, wipers and washer fluid, tire pressure and tread, emergency equipment, and lighting systems, if there's a chance you'll be running into less than ideal driving conditions. Also, make sure the radio works so you can listen to local forecasts and that your cell phone is fully charged. You definitely don't want to find yourself stranded or caught in bad weather with a dead cell phone. Many websites offer detailed hour-by-hour weather forecasts, so make time to consult one of these sites as part of your preparation routine. Dispatchers are often in touch with drivers all over the country, so they too can be a valuable source of information regarding the current weather conditions along your route.
When the weather is bad like that, I know coming in the morning and that we're going to have snow, so I just really don't plan on getting somewhere at a certain time. I get there when I get there. Just because you don't know how fast you're going to be able to go till you're out on the road, and you don't know what traffic problems you're going to have.
Visibility, if you can't see, you can't do a good job of driving. So you plan to make sure your windows are clear and lights are clear so people can see you.
You can think you have control of your truck, and the weather dictates it. It's like Mother Nature. Mother Nature tells you what's going to happen.
To plan for visibility, first things first, make sure you got good wipers. Make sure you got washer fluid in your reservoir. Make sure your defrosters work. I mean, these are all simple things that add up to it. And then you might want to check the weather report, see what's happening in front of you. You never know. From time to time, it could be nothing here. A mile down the road, it's blizzard. Next mile after that, nothing. You know, it always pays to double check that weather. You never know what's happening.
You're driving along, and all of a sudden you get in a foggy situation or an icy situation. And I don't think you can ever be prepared enough.
Fog is the most common visibility challenge you'll face when driving. Fog limits your ability to see ahead and to judge distances, and also limits the ability of other drivers to see you. Most important thing you can do when driving in fog is simply slow down. While fog alone doesn't affect traction, you still need to consider how long it would take you to stop your truck if there was a stalled car, an animal, or a crash scene ahead of you. In general, 20 to 30 miles per hour should be your maximum speed when driving through fog. However, if you're driving in dense fog and you can't see at least 3 vehicle lengths ahead, slow down even further to 10 to 15 miles per hour. In order for you to see ahead and be seen by other drivers, keep your lights on. Low beams work best in foggy conditions. When visibility at an intersection is compromised by fog, it's recommended that you not only look left and right, but also lower the driver and passenger side windows to listen for any cross traffic you may not be able to see. As an additional safety measure, sound your horn to let approaching drivers know you're there. Fog can contain a lot of moisture, so use the intermittent feature of your wipers to maintain adequate vision ahead. And having good quality wiper blades is critical to their effectiveness. Experienced drivers will tell you driving in low or near zero visibility is not worth the risk. When fog limits your visibility to 1 or 2 car lengths, find a safe place to pull over and wait for visibility to improve.
if I was driving in the fog, I would definitely slow down. The first thing I would do is slow down and be very attentive to what I'm looking at in front of me. Brake lights, because I'm not sure what other people are going to do in the same situation. So I'm leaving myself an opening and an out, an escape route. I'm losing my reference points on the side of the road because I can't see far down the road. So I'm going to use the white line on the side. Definitely going to have my low beams on, so I don't reflect back into my eyes and bother myself or affect myself worse. And the biggest thing is to be slowing down and watching what's going on around you.
Slow down. Make sure your windows are clear. Lights are clear so people can see your lights and you can see them. Have your lights on in the fog.
Fog conditions is very scary. What you think you see, you don't see. You know, a car may have passed you now, it looks good, you think he's a ways away. Next thing you know, bam, he's slamming his brakes. You don't have time to react. He's right there.
Ice and fog is really the two stickers where you have to draw a line and pull the plug. You don't feel safe. You can't see. You can't control the vehicle. You just got to get off the road no matter what. And for your own safety.
No matter where you live, sooner or later, you find yourself driving in rain. Even light to moderate rain can significantly reduce visibility. So you need to slow down, use your wipers, and keep your lights on using the low beams. In heavy rain, consider finding a safe place to pull off the road until the rain lets up. In addition to affecting your visibility, rain can have a serious impact on your traction as well. Rainwater can mix with the oil and dirt on the road to create an almost ice-like condition. Reducing your speed and increasing the distance between you and the vehicle ahead is the best way to deal with rain. Heavy rain can also cause your vehicle to hydroplane. Hydroplaning occurs when a thin layer of water prevents your tires from making full contact with the road surface. This leads to low traction and can cause you to lose control of your truck. To minimize the possibility of hydroplaning, be sure your tires have a good amount of tread, are properly inflated, and, no surprise, slow down.
If I was driving in rainy conditions, the first thing I would have done in my pre-trip, made sure that my wipers are going to be working in their good condition, so I don't have to worry about that. I have to judge whether I want them, if I'm going to use them as a pause, and my window's clear. And again, visibility, biggest thing is going to be slowing down so I don't hydroplane, taking corners, watching other traffic also, what they're going to be doing. They may lose traction, lose control, so I'm going to watch for them. And just be prepared and leave myself a bigger out, more of a gap between myself and other traffic if at all possible.
If it's first starting to rain, you got to watch the oils coming out of the road. And you watch for tire spray, other vehicles going by, and tires. If you have tire spray, it's not freezing. If there's no tire spray, that rain is freezing on the ground. You got icy roads.
Rain, I guess it just basically boils down to slowing down, because the heavier the rain gets, the harder it is to see. Mirrors, that type of stuff. Stopping distance is another big thing that you have to realize.
Windy conditions, especially high winds, can be a hazard in and of themselves, but combine high winds with rain, snow, or ice, and watch out. Be prepared by researching forecast wind speeds before you hit the road. When traveling in high winds, watch for visual cues like bending trees, whipping flags, flying debris, and other vehicles having trouble holding the road. When wind speeds exceed 50 miles per hour, maintaining control of your tractor trailer becomes a significant challenge. At 60 miles per hour, it becomes nearly impossible. Combine these wind speeds with other difficult weather, such as rain, snow, ice, and even poor visibility, and you're better off waiting in a safe place before you continue driving. It's always important to keep both hands on the wheel as you drive, but it's even more critical when driving in windy conditions. An unexpected gust of wind can cause you to lose control of your truck in a split second. Be especially cautious for dangerous wind gusts when coming out of a tunnel, driving through or near canyons, or cruising on flat, open stretches of highway. The weight of your trailer can also have an impact on how it handles in the wind. Winds that are manageable with a fully loaded trailer may create dangerous instability with an empty trailer or lighter load. If you feel you're not in full control of your tractor trailer, it's not a time to tough it out. It's time to pull over and wait in a safe place until the winds die down. It's no doubt the most dangerous wind conditions are tornadoes and hurricanes. When these events are in the forecast, get off the road. These are times to be safe, not sorry. Work with your dispatcher to find alternate routes or safe places to wait out these dangerous and sometimes even fatal weather conditions.
With a high-profile vehicle, they do get pushed around a lot more than people realize in high wind conditions. In fact, sometimes you can look in your mirrors, you'll see your trailer. It looks like it's 3 feet farther toward the side than driving in non-windy conditions.
With high wind conditions, when you're in a truck on a highway, you can easily tell, even if you don't see it, maybe you didn't check your weather, you don't know it, you just come into it. You'll definitely be able to tell as soon as you look in your mirror and you see your trailer dog tracking. And it can be a scary situation. The best thing I can say to do is slow down, take it one step at a time, maybe get to your nearest safe haven, pull over, check your weather, see what it's like ahead of you, see if you even want to go ahead. Maybe you don't. Is it worth it to you to drive 45 miles an hour down a 65-mile-an-hour highway? Probably not the safest thing to do.
An empty truck is the biggest concern. Wind, ice, snow, you don't have traction, you have the wind blowing you around. Because you don't have the weight, it can start moving you around on the road. And so that's where speed becomes the biggest factor, and taking that down 10, 15, 20 miles below speed limit if you have to.
In a high wind situation, drive a little slower, be prepared, hang on to the wheel, don't be reaching for anything.
In a large portion of the country, colder temperatures mean snow. And falling and accumulating snow can have a profound impact on both visibility and traction. Be aware of the current weather conditions and the forecast for snow along your route. Like heavy rain and thick fog, snow can obscure visibility significantly. So having working wipers with good quality blades and a powerful windshield defroster is essential. Using your low beams will help you see ahead and will help others see you. Adjust your speed to conditions and keep an adequate distance from the vehicle ahead of you. Using a lower gear will help maintain traction, especially on hills. Try to extend the following distance between you and the vehicle ahead to 4 to 10 times what you'd use on dry pavement. The extra distance will give you additional time to react to changing traction conditions due to snow. Even at slower speeds, snow can still have an effect on traction and maneuverability. Accelerating, braking, and turning should be done smoothly and carefully to minimize the chance of a dangerous skid. If the tires begin to skid, your truck's anti-lock brakes will engage. Apply steady pressure on the brakes and allow your truck to slow as you regain control. If you find your vehicle skidding, the next step is to quickly steer in the direction you want your truck to travel. But be careful not to overcompensate, causing you to continue the skid in the new direction. The recommended technique is to countersteer as soon as you're back on course and keep braking until you come to a safe stop. Tire chains are often used to improve traction in snowy conditions. Some states and some companies require chains while others prohibit them. So it's crucial to know what state laws and company policies apply along your route of travel. Before you drive with tire chains, you need to know how to install them and how your tractor trailer will handle when driving with them. One other important note: operating in cold weather may require a different fuel blend than you use in warmer areas. For example, if you drive from Texas to Michigan in the middle of winter, your fuel blend requirements will change en route. So be sure you're filled with the blend that's appropriate for the region you're driving in.
Remember to keep your following distance, more following distance than normal. Slow down, watch for tire spray, snowy, icy conditions. Chain if you have to chain.
I'm looking for references and landmarks and references I can use, especially if the ground would be snow covered. I might not be able to see the white line or the center line on the road, so I'm looking at markers on the side of the road
maybe mailboxes on the 2-lane highway, or even the grass line on the side of the road to judge where I am positioned on the side. With the visibility, you may not have the ability to look 12 seconds down the road. You may only have 50 feet of visibility in front of you. So your big thing is you have to slow down, drive within your comfort zones, and start looking for changing conditions in front of you. Brake lights, stop lights, any kind of driving lights from a vehicle in front of you, hazards, curves, corners. Visibility becomes real treacherous in the wintertime. And there is no surefire answer to doing it other than slow down and possibly get off the road if you're not feeling safe.
Snow on the road and low temperatures can easily lead to icy conditions, especially on bridges and overpasses. And while ice is most common in snowy conditions, it can also be present during mist, drizzle, freezing rain, and heavy fog when temperatures drop below freezing. If you can get off the road safely and wait until conditions improve, that's often the best approach to dealing with ice. If you must drive, slowing to 10 or 15 miles per hour will give you more control and some margin for safety when reacting to an icy patch. Dropping down to a lower gear can also help improve traction in icy conditions. Even on days when visibility and road conditions are good, black ice can present a treacherous hazard. Contrary to its name, black ice is not really black. It's a thin layer of glazed ice on the road surface that's virtually transparent, allowing the black road below to remain visible. This means the road appears normal and the loss of traction can catch you by surprise, especially at night when the temperature starts to drop. Knowing the conditions that cause black ice and carefully observing the vehicles ahead can help you anticipate when it might be present. If ice starts to form on the front of your outside mirrors, it may also be present on the road. Another clue is road spray. If conditions have been rainy or snowy, yet there is no road spray, it might be because the moisture that would otherwise be spraying off the tires of other vehicles is freezing to the roadway. Whenever ice compromises your control of your truck, it's time to think about pulling off the road and waiting in a safe place for better driving conditions.
Going down the road 55 and you feel the tractor wiggle, and then you watch your trailer and you see it wiggle, and you know you just went over ice. So time to slow down and watch the bridges.
If I was to get into icy conditions, I'm going to back off of it, off the throttle as fast as I can, just ease off of it and just try to slow myself down and then start assessing how bad the conditions really are. Maybe I can move over to the shoulder and I can get some traction on the gravel to keep me stable a little bit, or there's certain drier spots or open spots on the highway I might be able to maneuver to. Biggest thing is not applying the brakes hard at all, as well as not making any fast maneuvers of any kind at all.
For traction, definitely want to check, make sure you got good tires, make sure you got something on you to throw out, maybe if it's salt, some sand, maybe even you got tire chains. Whatever it is, make sure you have all these things on you so you are ready when you do need them.
Being prepared for and having the knowledge to deal with challenging weather conditions is not only important, it could save your life. Prepare by thoroughly inspecting your tractor trailer with special attention to the equipment that ensures effective traction and good visibility. Check the weather forecast along your route so you know what to expect. If visibility or traction is compromised, slow down and increase your following distance. And remember, if the weather conditions are challenging for you, a professional driver, imagine how difficult it is for others who don't have your training or experience. It's one more reason to slow down and be alert for the actions of others. Ultimately, if extreme weather conditions cause you to not feel fully in control of your tractor trailer, get off the road until conditions improve and you can complete your trip safely.
All right. Let's get you guys back to here. Okay. You guys are seeing the presentation again off the video.
Good, Brian.
All right. All right, so let's wrap up here with a quick little test your knowledge. So guys, if you want to unmute and answer, feel free. All right, so what percent of fatal large truck crashes occur in adverse weather conditions? You guys remember? 10, 15, 25, or 50?
50.
Let's see what the answer is. 25. That's close. That's close. Hopefully it doesn't get up to 50. All right. Speed limits posted on curb warning signs are intended for large trucks. True or false?
False.
That's right. They're intended for passenger cars, so you should at least reduce by a minimum of 10 miles an hour. Truck rollover accidents are more likely to occur on entrance or exit ramps when the driver A, misjudges the sharpness of the curve, B, follows the posted speed limit recommended for the exit entrance ramp, C, enters the curve at excessive speeds, or D, all of the above.
All of the above.
Right. All right, large trucks with loaded trailers are how many times more likely to roll over than those with empty trailers? None, the chances are the same. 10, 50, or 100?
10.
Yep. All right, causing a fatal crash in a work zone due to speeding will result in a ticket and possible fine. True or false? This is a trick question. False. It can result in criminal charges as well as jail time. So don't think just speeding is going to be a slap on the wrist. It can be worse. I tried to trick you guys with that one. All right. That's about it. Do you guys have any questions or concerns that you want to share with the group before we depart? This is your chance. I know, Alan, if you're still on there, I know you like to participate in these things. Anything else? All right. Anything from our team before we go? I see you in there, Al. There you are. I knew you'd have something to say.
Nothing from me. Just
That's good.
be safe. Have a Merry Christmas.
Miss seeing you in person there, Alan. All right. Anything from our team before we go?
I just want to say everyone have a good holidays, and I'm glad to be part of the team here. So you guys be safe out there.
All right.
And I also want to say happy holidays. And also, as mentioned earlier in the meeting, look out for the email for the Drug and Alcohol Clearinghouse.
That was great.
Yeah. All right, guys. Not often you can attend a safety meeting on the couch and cuddled up all warm and snuggy. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you for participating, and we'll get these logged in for you so you get credit for it. And if you need anything, of course, you don't need a safety meeting to bring stuff up. So everyone have a great holiday, and we will hopefully see you guys soon.
See ya.
See ya.